Let's make green bean casserole for the holidays and find a wine to pair with it. So green bean casserole normally has frozen green beans and canned condensed soup. We're stepping away from that. We're going fresh with the green beans. We're making our own creamy mushroom sauce, and we've got a topping that we're gonna put together. I'm using white bread. Now, one thing I am using that normally is used is the crispy fried onions. That's just something that we couldn't get away from. Making fresh, crispy fried onions was just too laborious, and we don't want to spend all of our time on Thanksgiving Day on one side, all right? So I want a little bit of a convenience in there. So to start with this topping, I'm using white bread, and although this bread does not look white, this is actually Dave's Killer Bread, and it's white bread done right. I swear by this bread. I'm not endorsed, they're not endorsing me, but I love this bread. I've got my food processor. I'm gonna tear my bread into pieces here. I've got some butter that's been sitting out, it's softened. To this, I'm gonna add some fresh cracked black pepper. I'm gonna add a couple of pinches of salt. And I wanna pulse this until we get some nice crumble, we get something that's consistency of crumbles. Everything's combined. So I've got a bowl here. I'm gonna dump everything into this bowl. And I've got my crispy fried onions. We're gonna dump them into the bowl. And that's our topping. We're gonna set that aside. The next step in the process is to blanch my green beans. Got these beautiful fresh green beans here, and I've cut them in half, cleaned them up really well. Got some salt, vigorous boiling water. Let's get this water salted. And in with my green beans. So I'm gonna blanch these until they're what we call tender crisp. Nice and tender, but with a little bit of a bite left. I'm gonna say maybe 4 or 5 minutes. It just depends on how fast this water comes back up to a boil. It's gonna differ in your pot than it does in mine. So that's why we're gonna give you a rough time estimate, but you wanna keep an eye on it. We're looking for tender crisp. My green beans are done. I've got an ice water bath here. Dump those green beans right into the ice water bath. Make sure you get all of them nice and chilled. Got my strainer. I'm gonna strain these, get these out of this water. I've got my green beans drained. Got the sheet pan here lined with paper towel. I'm gonna get my beans on the paper towel. I wanna get them dry. So I'm gonna cover these, allow them to continue to dry. I'm gonna set them aside. And now to put together the mushroom cream sauce, I've got my pan here and I'm gonna start with butter. I'm gonna add my garlic. And I've got white mushroom that I've actually chopped up into nice chunks. So to my mushrooms and garlic, I'm gonna add some fresh cracked black pepper, some salt, I'm gonna saute these up until these mushrooms release all of that moisture, begin to take on some color. About 5 minutes or so. The liquid is gone from the mushrooms. We're now just wanting to brown them. Just a little bit. All right, so to my mushrooms, I'm gonna add some flour. So I wanna combine this. We're gonna cook this for about a minute or so. We just wanna make sure that the flour is combined with the fat, which is the butter that's on the mushrooms. Now into my mushrooms, I'm gonna add my chicken stock. I wanna bring that to a simmer. All right, to my mushroom mixture here, I'm gonna add some heavy cream. I'm gonna bring this to a simmer. I wanna simmer this for about 10 minutes or so. So my sauce has thickened. I'm gonna add my green beans to the sauce. And I'm gonna stir these, and I wanna make sure that the green beans are really nice and coated with the sauce. Got my Pyrex dish. If you're enjoying the video, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I want to use my rubber spatula to make sure that I get all of that good sauce. I've got my oven preheated to 425 degrees. I'm gonna stick this in there for 10 minutes. We're gonna pull it out, top it with our topping, and stick it back in. So 10 minutes first. While the green bean casserole is baking, let's talk about the wine I've chosen to pair with it. I've got a 2018 Ridge Monte Bello. This is from the Santa Cruz Mountains in California. This happens to be one of my 2 or 3 favorite Cabernet dominant blends in the world. Ridge was one of the first wineries that I had experience with when I got into wine, and Monte Bello was one of the first serious wines that I ever tasted. One of the things about the pairing with this, I talk about in a previous video. I did a turkey, roasted turkey for the holidays as well, and I talk about the versatility in these dishes. I mean, I chose this because I wanted to highlight the fact that, I mean, normally you think maybe Sauvignon Blanc or Chardonnay or something like that, but I want to highlight the versatility in the dish. This is a Cabernet dominant blend, and you would immediately think red meat or cheddar cheese or something to that effect, but we're gonna pair it with a green bean casserole. So it's very dark, very typical for this wine. Very fruit forward on the nose. Always gives off, in my opinion, creamy fruit. Vanilla. Getting a little bit of little baking spices. Medium bodied on the palate. Nice punch of acidity. And that vibrant Montebello fruit. Such a juicy wine. In my opinion, this is gonna pair with the green bean casserole. First of all, I think Montebello is a fantastic food wine. It's so versatile, but I think the creaminess in the green bean casserole, along with the mushrooms, the onions. I also think some of the vegetal notes in the green beans, it's gonna pair well with this. This is a very food-friendly wine. And because of everything that's going on in the green bean casserole, the fact, now maybe if we took all of those things and we separated them and we individually tried to pair them with this wine, maybe it wouldn't work that way. Maybe the green beans by themselves wouldn't work that way. Now maybe if we had green beans on a plate along with a steak and we ate it that way, there'd be a little bit more of a pairing. But I think the fact that there's so much going on in this dish that it's gonna pair well with this wine. The green bean casserole has been baking for 10 minutes. I want to top it and stick it back in the oven. I'm just going to spread my topping evenly. I actually love this topping. I'm crazy about this topping. I sometimes put extra topping on mine. You can put as much or as little as you want on yours. All right, I'm gonna dig right in. That's a fantastic green bean casserole. Fresh green beans, fresh mushrooms, the cream, oh man. And that topping, the addition of the butter and the breadcrumbs, that's just fantastic. True test. Wow, like I told you, this is a food-friendly wine, and that's a fantastic pairing. But let me double check. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. I gotta double check. The topping is nice and crispy, delicious. Yes, it is. That's a perfect pairing. I'm Chef Glenn B, and as always, eat well.